Hello, everyone, and welcome to my 18th episode. And you might notice it looks a little different around here, doesn't it? That's right. I am heading home next week. I got a relief, and after 5 months of being on board, they are going to have me relieved by another third engineer, and I'm good to go home. I'm going to go home and spend some time with family, friends, and hopefully a very special someone who has many floofs back home. But I started packing and cleaning my room. I also have to do turnover notes on my computer. And what the heck? Here's the man behind the camera. And that's my alarm panel right there. And it's been kind of rocky weather. So hopefully not too many things roll around as I finish packing and cleaning the room and getting ready to head home. So I figure let me fix the camera a little bit. Let's go over some pictures, some topics, maybe some random facts, and have some fun for this temporarily last episode. So let's sail right into it. Alright, hello. And before we jump into it, I wanted to wish my younger brother a very happy birthday, albeit a little belated. His birthday was October 6th a few days ago, and I heard he had a great birthday. I was able to send him a message, and he got to spend his birthday with his brand new daughter, Olivia, who is about 9 months old now, and I hear she's starting to crawl and go everywhere. It's only a matter of time before she starts walking, talking, and hopefully playing video games with her favorite uncle. And of course, I'm not going to hold anything back. When we start playing video games, she will find no mercy with me. I play to win, and hopefully she doesn't take it to heart and then stop playing video games with me, but I will make sure she gets that kind of tough love from me. But yeah, my younger brother is a major in the Army, and he also was in the Army when he met his wife, who's a captain in the Army, and now works as a project manager for a pharmaceutical company, I believe. And yeah, things are going great. So we are in some pretty rough weather. Weather on the oceans actually gets pretty rough in the wintertime. I know when I was over in Alaska, it was during the summer, and the weather actually wasn't that bad. And I had gotten relieved prior to that winter, and they said that over in Alaska, because they're out at sea all the time between Alaska and Washington, that the weather does get really bad, and that's no exception over in Europe. I remember when I was sailing back from Germany, and we were going at very high speeds, and it was the winter time, and we had like 400 people on board, and more than half of them did not have their sea legs, and they got pretty sick to the point where they actually had to quarantine some berthings where they stayed, because they were just so sick that they had to have their food brought to them and to their medicine, and only, you know, the supply department, medical department could go into those berthings to deliver those services until they got well. But we are getting some pretty bad weather here, and you know, that's as we get closer to Europe. We also had bad weather when we left Houston about 10 days ago, and we were actually sailing, you know, south of Florida just as the hurricane had passed, but we still had remnants of that weather that we had to deal with, and it was pretty rough. And I was also able to see on social media the devastating effects of Hurricane Ian, I believe it was, and thankfully all my friends were safe. But it just reminds me of the devastating effects of a hurricane and Mother Nature in general, and it makes me feel really sad, because it reminds me of another hurricane that occurred in the Bahamas, and at the time a friend of a friend was living there with his wife and 3 children, and unfortunately, as hard as he tried to get to safety, this friend of a friend lost his life and lost the lives of his 3 children. Only the wife or mother survived, and it was it's just so unreal and inexplicably saddening and depressing. I choke up when I think about it sometimes. And we had our Facebook group of our college, and we all got together and tried to bring comfort and support for this mother and wife who just lost her entire family and a lot of her whole life after this devastating hurricane. And it just made me feel more hope for humanity that we were able to come together and help this woman as best as we could. And I hope, to this day, again, that happened a few years ago. I hope to this day that she's able to, pick up the pieces of her life and move on, and try to still have a fruitful life. But to kind of move forward with these videos, I'm hoping when I go home I'll continue with these videos, maybe play some video games and go over some other interesting facts of life in general, because not only do I have life at sea, but I also have life at home, and it can be interesting to say the least. And there are some stories here and there that I can share, but I've always wanted to live stream videos or video game playing, because I've seen other live streamers do that, and it looks like a lot of fun. But I think I may start with videos before I jump into live streaming, because I'm not 100% familiar with the software yet. But also, I need to build up that audience. So I think if I ever get to 100 subscribers at a start, maybe I'll start doing live streaming. But until then, I think I know what I need to do in order to run the software to be able to play a game while recording myself in the game as I'm playing it. And I also have to build up that endurance to go from start to finish when playing some of these games, which can take several hours. And unfortunately, I have a small bladder, so about every 2 to 3 hours I need to go use the restroom, and I hate to leave people hanging, so I would have to find a workaround for that. But I have some interesting pictures with some stories, but before we do that, I always like to have some random facts. And since I'm going to be traveling in a couple days, because I'm going to be heading home, I thought I'd have some random facts about traveling. And before I jump into these random facts, now that I brought up traveling, I have a few stories that I like to share. One of which was most devastating for me. I was actually going home for vacation. This was when I was over in Italy for 2 years. I had gotten a month off for that ship, and I was going to return after 1 month. And I remember being really tired. I think I just got off of a midnight to 8 watch shift, and my vacation started right then and there. And I had already booked my flights, and I had to get to Rome. I was all the way over on Gaeta, and I had to take the bus to Formia, catch the train to Rome, and then catch another train to bring me to the airport. So it was a bit of a travel, about 2 or 3 hours. And I went through my room, I packed everything, and I thought I had everything, but I double and triple checked, and I went to the bus station. I was carrying a lot of heavy luggage, which was unfortunate. I don't know why I was carrying home so many things, but I do remember having 2 or 3 luggages, and they were very heavy. I think I wanted to offload some of the stuff that I had purchased while on the ship when we went to various ports. I wanted to bring it all home and store it. So I work all my muscles away, and I carry all this luggage to the bus stop. I get on the bus, I ride it to the train station, and then I wait for the train with all my heavy stuff, and I get on the train, and it's about an hour and a half ride to Rome. And then I got to lug all that heavy stuff again to another shuttle train to take me to the airport, and then I have to walk through the entire airport and terminal to get to the ticket booth. And again, I already spent like 3 or 4 hours traveling just to get to the airport, and I think I spent a good 40 or 50 euros on bus and train tickets and whatnot. And I get to the ticket counter, and they ask for my passport. Uh-oh. Well, when we get on ships, we usually hand over all those documents to the captain or a purser or somebody who holds on to them. So when we get into ports, as we sail into them, they can go through customs. They have all the documents there, and they hold on to them until you are discharged off the ship. But the purser didn't give me my passport. And I was like, oh no. So I'm pleading with the ticket agent at the airport. I was like, I have copies of it on my phone, and I think I even had copies of it with my other documents that I needed, but they said no, they had to have the absolute original document, and I had to go all the way back to the ship. I wanted to cry because I was extremely tired. I wasted all this time for nothing, and I wasted all this money traveling for nothing while carrying all this heavy luggage. I had to lug it all the way back to the ship. This happened back in 2013, I believe, and it was one of my most miserable days of my life because I just could not believe the horrors that I had to go through just to get home for vacation that one time. And it was just one of my worst memories. I had a lot of great memories on that ship, but that was unfortunately one of my worst ones. And I hope I never go through anything like that again. Always double and triple check everything. And at the top of that list, when you're traveling, make sure you have your passport, because they will not let you advance without it. So let's jump into some of these random facts from my book of useless information. And I still am in awe of this fact. I hope they've improved fuel efficiency since then, because this was written back in 2006. But a jumbo jet uses 4,000 gallons of fuel just to take off. And that's just to take off. What about the in-flight and landing and all that? That requires probably much more additional fuel to, make that travel. But 4,000 gallons is a lot of fuel. And hopefully since then they've found a way to cut back on that, because that just seems like a lot of fuel. And the tail section of airplanes give the bumpiest ride in flight. And that's probably where I'm going to be flying when I go home next week. I have 5 days and a wake up as of this video, so time's moving by quick. I mean, it just feels like a couple days ago it was June when I got back on in May, and here it is, almost 5 months already, and I'm about to go home. But yeah, whenever I have my travel arranged by the company or a website, they always give me the very back of the plane, which is usually where the restrooms are, so I got that to deal with as well. And on top of crying and screaming kids, smelly other passengers, and just a glass of water that is like that much, or that much soda, or a package of peanuts, all the wonderful joys of traveling. It's unfortunate, and I'm gonna have to face that for a good 13 or 14 hours next week, but it'll be worth it to go home. And American Airlines actually saved $40,000 in 1 year in 1987 just by removing just one olive from each salad that was served in first class throughout their fleet. I thought that was interesting calculation and savings. I'm sure they've saved more since then, because the food portions on these airlines just get smaller and smaller with each passing year. But the prices don't get smaller, unfortunately. And then a Boeing 747 wingspan, just the wingspan, is longer than the distance that the Wright brothers' first plane traveled on their first flight. And I never really researched much into the Wright brothers. I mean, I know they are supposedly the ones who first created flight. They built the first airplane and went for a flight, and I guess it only went a couple feet, or a somewhat decent distance. I'd have to look it up, but apparently the wingspan from tip to tip of both the wings of a Boeing 747 measures longer than the distance of their first flight. And speaking of Boeing 747s, I might have mentioned this fact already, but as much as I hate spiders, they do have a lot of interesting facts surrounding them, and one of them is the silk that can be woven by, I think, the golden spider. and it is considered to be just as strong as steel of the same diameter. And they say a pencil thick strand of the golden spider silk can stop a Boeing 747 in flight. And those things are going like hundreds of miles per hour in the air, and just a pencil thick strand of this silk can stop it. And that's just insane, in my opinion, of the just the elasticity and adhesiveness of the spider silk, and it just makes sense how they're so easily able to catch bugs that just happen to touch their webs, because they're just so sticky that there's no way they can escape. But anyway, I wanted to end on that note and jump right into our pictures. We have a lot of fun and interesting ones, and start with this one with Dak, my white and yellow Labrador, just taking a nice big long snooze on one of our couches. And of course he has to take up the whole thing. He spanned right across the whole thing, and I just think that was cute and funny, and it just shows how much we spoil and love our pets. And on the next one, I like this next one. This one I think is really funny and a bit unexplained too. I was at my younger brother's house, and I was about to have my 30th birthday and also close on my first house, and we were spending the night there in preparation to go close on my new house. And we were just celebrating, having a glass of wine, and all the dogs are there, my brother's dogs, my parents' dogs. And for whatever reason, I'm just sitting in a chair, and then all of a sudden Dak just casually walks up to me and then just completely climbs right on top of me, and there's no reason for it. I was like, what are you doing, Dak? So I had to quickly put my wine down, because he wasn't stopping. Like, I could have tried pushing him off, but he wouldn't allow it. He just jumped right on top of me and was just crawling all over me, and I was just trying to not fall off the chair while holding him. And I like to joke when I look at this picture that he saw a spider and it scared him, because if I saw a spider, it'd probably make me jump too. But I like to joke that's what happened, and he just jumped up on top of me and climbed all over me, because he's a big baby, and we all loved him. And then in this next one, we caught Chloe going for a night swim one night up in Connecticut. And Chloe loved to swim. She loved to go for rides, she loved to go for a swim, and she loved to eat and sleep, because she was a big chocolate bear, big old grizzly bear. And yeah, we caught her night swimming one night. My mom took that picture, which I thought was pretty cute. And then Sig, our fat orange and white cat, she likes to explore a lot. I mean, I would catch her sometimes in the attic. I've caught her sometimes sneaking into the garage. But in this one, she decided to jump into a paper bag, or not a paper bag, a plastic bag. But I have seen her in paper bags and even cardboard boxes, which is, a cat's weakness. But I saw her in this bag as I was unpacking my stuff at my new house, and I just had to take a picture. Her expression is just hilarious. Like, oh, you found me. I just happened to be here. But this next one is unfortunately a little sad. It is kind of a farewell to Dak. It was my last picture with him. I was about to go to a new vessel, a new activated vessel, the SS Wright, which was over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And before I left, I knelt down and gave him a hug and a kiss and a goodbye. It was my last picture with him, and at the time he was not feeling well, and he was of age. So I boarded the vessel, and a few months later I met up with my parents in North Carolina, which was also after a hurricane. And they broke the news to me that he had crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And it was just really sad. But Dak loved everybody, and we all loved him. So he gave us a lot of great memories, and that's how we remember him. But this next one is funny. My dad took this picture. This is of Indiana, our other white Labrador. And this was before Dak, and we named him Indiana after Indiana Jones. And he loved to sleep under our computer desk. My dad even put a rug down there for him so he can sleep on it. And my dad just took this picture of him one day. It looks like he's about to lick the camera, but I am more focused on the eyes, you know, just the alien looking eyes that he has in that picture. And I just think it's cute and funny. And the next one is also of Indiana, and he's going through a romp in the snow. And I think this one is one of the most perfectly timed pictures ever, in my opinion, that my mom took. My mom also made the vest that Indiana is wearing in this picture. She made one for all three of our dogs at the time, for Katanga, Hershey, and Indiana. And she usually lets the dogs out at night, and it just happened to be snowing, and in the winter she put the vests on for them, and she was watching them and taking pictures of them and calling them inside. So Dak, I keep saying Dak, Indiana was actually running back to the house, and my mom was taking pictures, and she took this one. And he has his eyes closed to protect from the falling snow, but at the same time he's running, and he's on like a forward descent towards the house, and both of his ears are perfectly up in his descent, you know, being blown up in the wind or the air. And his eyes are closed, and he's going through a romp in the snow. He's running back to the house, and I just think that was perfectly timed. I mean, for a dog whose ears are flopped like that, and then just to take a picture of them at the right moment when both of them are up like that, when they're running, or when air is blowing through them, I mean, it's almost impossible to do that if you wanted to. And for my mom to capture this moment, I think is just amazing. And it's one of the reasons why I love that. Perfectly timed photos. I really like perfectly timed photos because they're rare and they can't be planned, or if they had to be, it's almost impossible to do so. You couldn't recreate that if you wanted to. And speaking of snow and the upcoming holidays and Christmas, I wanted to share this one to kind of boast and show off my mom's arts and crafts skills. She made this Super Mario Brothers 3 World 1 map blanket for me one year for Christmas. I think she finished it when I spent Christmas when I was on the Integrity, and she showed me a picture of it, and I was like, wow, I mean, the detail is spot on, incredible. I absolutely loved it, and I'm looking forward to more interesting arts and crafts that she creates. She's just a master at it. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this Super Mario blanket, and I got it for Christmas. And in this next picture, Dak is kind of snooping on his Christmas presents. We called him Red Pawed, trying to sneak in or feel around for his Christmas presents, and he's looking around seeing if the coast is clear, but he wasn't looking well enough, and we caught him in the act. And I think my mom took that picture, and I thought it was really cute and funny. And Dak isn't the only one who likes to snoop for her presents, or his or her presents. Sig was also snooping her presents the night before Christmas. She was you know, trying to find either a new hiding place or look at what kind of fancy feast presents she would be getting. But I just love these pictures with Christmas and celebrating them with our pets. It's always a lot of fun. I always remember our pets just sniffing the presents like crazy as my mom or dad would open for them, and it would always be tennis balls or like biscuits or those bacon strip treats that dogs sometimes get. And I always just thought it was so funny because they get their nose right up to the wrapping paper and just go sniffing like crazy. You can hear them from like the next door over, and it's just so funny. And for this last picture that I would end on, I refer to this as my mad scientist look. I was actually working with one of the electricians, just pulling cable from the ship. We were actually in dry dock in Victor Lenik in Croatia, and we were pulling a lot of dead cable from equipment that had been removed. And I was working with the electrician doing that, and we had to climb into a very dusty and dirty vent to get through to access some of these cables. And I had been on that ship for like 4 or 5 months, so my hair was really, really long. I had not gotten a haircut that entire time, and I had to climb through these dusty vents. And when I came out, I was like really dirty and disheveled, and I was like, I got to get a picture and document this. So that's what this picture is all about. And I think it was a few weeks before I actually went home, and I finally got a much needed haircut. But before then, I visited my brother in Hawaii. Or my younger brother in Hawaii, and my older brother in San Diego, who was stationed out there at the time. And then I finally went home and got a haircut. And I think that'll do it for this episode. Like I said, I'm going to maybe do some more episodes while I'm at home, but any future episodes from here on out will probably not be in this room, but it may be on this ship. I may be coming back, and I may be upgrading. So when I resume my episodes for Life at Sea, it'll be in a different room, in a different position, and I will definitely go over my new responsibilities and whatnot at that time. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for joining me and for all these episodes. And as we say in the industry, or at least in school, whenever a ship arrived or departed, we would say, or based on our number of bells, we would say so and so departing or arriving. So here I am, ND Night, departing. Good night.